Hello and welcome to yet another video. In this video, our focus is going to be on vectors. And if my explanation on scalars surprised you and helped you not to be afraid of math, this is even going to surprise you more and help you even more. So, what are vectors? In plain English words, a vector is just a list of scalars. So a vector is a list of scalars or numbers. In geometry, a vector is something else. It is a quantity that has a magnitude and a direction. But as far as machine learning or deep learning is concerned, we are going to treat a vector as just a list of scalars. And from the previous video, you learned about what a scalar is. To help you understand it more within the context of machine learning, because that is what I promised to do, I have this training data set on the board, which is very similar to the training data set that I used during the data representation and data preprocessing chapters. Now, on the board you are seeing a training data, and then as I explained to you, each column is called a feature. So attendance is a feature, hours studied is a feature, hours slept, and result. These are all features. And then if you read it row-wise, we call each one of them a training example. So a training example is just one instance of your entire training data set. So this whole thing you see here is the entire training data set. And if I choose row 1, that is a training example because it's a single instance of our data set. Okay? Now, what is interesting here is once I choose a single row, it becomes a vector. So, the first row is a vector which is written as 1.0, 8.0, 8.0, 1.0. Surprisingly, this is the same way you represent vectors in Python. So I can say data is equal to this, and this is a valid Python statement. Just to help you understand the training data on the board, I am trying to simulate a training data that we can use to build a model to predict whether a student will pass or fail an examination based on their attendance. Over here, I'm assuming that there were 10 classes. So if a student went for n classes, then their attendance is n divided by 10. So this student here has an attendance of 1.0, which means he or she attended class 10 times out of 10. And then studied 8 hours, slept 8 hours, and the final result shows that he passed the examination. This guy went to class 10 times, but studied only 1.5 hours in the entire day, slept 16 hours, and the result was that he failed. This lady went to class only 20% of the time. So this is 2 over 10. But she spent 14 hours a day studying, which means she made up for all the classes she missed by doing self-studies. She slept 7 hours, which is good, so her brain can rest and she'll be able to remember what she learned. And the result came out that she passed. This guy went to class 10 out of 10, but studied only 30 minutes or 0.5 hours in a day, slept 13 hours, and the result came out that he failed. So as you can see, Each one is an instance which we call a training example. And we can represent that as a vector just like this. Is a set of scalars in rectangular brackets as far as Python is concerned. And this is the understanding of vectors that you need as far as machine learning is concerned. I stated that there is a geometrical interpretation of vectors, but we are not interested in that now. We are just interested in using vectors to help training machine learning models. So we are not talking about the geometric interpretation of a vector here. So in simple English, a vector is just a rectangular list of scalars, and you already know what a scalar is. Now, one more thing I need you to know about vectors is that a vector has some other attribute which is based on the number of numbers you find in the vector. This vector, for instance, has 1, 2, 3, 4. So the number of elements in this vector is 4. So this is a 4-element vector. So you can say an n-element vector. And in this case, this vector is a 4-element vector. And in Python, you can access each element of the vector using its index. So the first one here is going to be data 0. This is going to be data 1. This is going to be data 2, and this is going to be data 3. So this is all you need to know about vectors as far as machine learning is concerned. You need to know that it is a list of scalars and it has a size which is represented by the number of elements in there. One more thing before I end this video. This is a 4-element vector. Each instance here is a 4-element vector, but the truth is, in real-world machine learning training data, the number of elements in a vector could be in the thousands or even in the tens of thousands, depending on the number of features that were used to build the training data, which also depends on the number of features that a regular human being needs to be able to perform the function that the model is being built to perform. For example, if I take a 25 by 25 pixels image, so it means along this 25 numbers, along here 25 numbers. If I unroll the number of pixels in this image to form a training instance, a training example, then I'm going to have 25 times 25 features in there for just a simple 25 by 25 pixels image. So you can imagine if you are dealing with 32 by 32, 64 by 64, 100 by 100, or even 1000 by 1000. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.